over to the opposite return. Everywhere you struggle, everywhere you sacrifice, not one iota of that is not going to be covered in opposite spiritual return, reward, and empowerment. It's time for us to step up. Everything has become corrupted. The systems of the world have become corrupted to a global level, which means it's reached a planetary level, and that's when we bring Big Mama magic to the table.
I like that, Big Mama magic. I like how you say that. Big Mama magic. All right. All 2022. Big Mama magic. All 2022, y'all. From now on, Big Mama magic. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
And that's triple, like you said, magic. It's just third time the charm. Anytime you do things in three, spiritually, that's third time the charm. That's when things happen. But we got a triple 22, which is a triple, stepping up to triple spiritual magic. We're going to cover everything. Like I said, the number 4 is the number of completion. When you add 22, you get the 4. So completion of stepping up to our spiritual mastery when it comes to opening up to our triple dose of power. All our gifts, all the things that you see, our ancestors, all colors come from the color black, okay? And that's the original Black Mama universe, you see. And that's how our ancestors came out as the original rulers. They had powers. They could fly. They could breathe underwater. They could talk telepathically with the plants, the animals, the universe, each other. We still have those powers, okay? But they're subconscious. That is Mama's domain. Father rules the conscious reality, the air element. We've completed Father's half, okay? That means just put a pin in it. That's the air element that deals with knowing, that deals with understanding, figuring things out, all those kind of things. The air deals with the mind, okay? So, and then the fire is the sun. The air is the Father component, Father Spirit, righteous Father Spirit, who is energizing a mindset of righteousness. When we're dealing with the air element, we're dealing with righteousness, righteous Father Spirit. So he wants to produce a collective, righteous mindset. Whenever you're dealing with the spirit, you're dealing with the collective. Physical is individual, spirit is the collective. That's why they say you have to pool energy to create spirit. That's why they say where more than one is called in my name, so shall I be Father Spirit. Because you have to combine energy to create spirit. And the more you do that energy, the bigger the spirit you create. So that is the Father's role, to create a righteous, collective mindset, you see. So he's completed his half. The fire, which is also masculine or external, is our power, you see, or our passions, our desires. At the highest vibration, the fire represents our creative powers. So you have Father Spirit and the Son of Power. Remember, spirit is symbolic. You have to look at the symbolism. So righteous Father Spirit, who speaks to you through the air element or how you think. And then the fire element, the sun component, S-O-N, individual, S-U-N, collective power of the sun. So your desires, your passions, and your highest of the fire is your creative powers. So that's Father Spirit and Mama Soul. Father Spirit and the Son of Power. And this is what we have in common with others. That's the only way. All they access is the air and the fire. However, the universe is about balance. That's the key to the universe. So when we completed The masculine half, the air and fire, or the father and son. Now we have to go into balance. That's the key to the universe. So if there's a father, there has to be a mom. If there's a son, there has to be a daughter. That's the feminine half. The reason that, but that's where you have to go internal to the feminine. Mama is the ancient of ancients. Like I said, everything originated through the color black or black mama universe. However, that was the matriarchal when we had our powers, when our ancestors had our power. Saturn was at a close proximity to the earth that called the golden reign of Saturn, you see, where everything was beautiful. We had our powers. Well, spirit is fire. So matriarchal, the spirit spiraled around to the patriarchal half. That's when it became external, air and fire. But when we went into the Aquarian age, that means we've come full circle. Now it's time to balance between those two halves. That is why we have to now put a pin in the father's half, because you don't blend energy. You harmonize energy. And the ultimate harmonization is when you're ready to balance those opposites. The two halves create the whole, or the one, you see, or holistic. And so now we have to cross over to mama's half. That's what we did at the winter solstice. We crossed over into mama's half of the operation. Now it's time to trust what you feel. Or what you feel is coming from within, coming from your ancient memory. Mama speaks to you internally through how you feel, but from your ancient memory, from the soul realm, where you enter the subconscious. Like I said, father deals with the conscious mind. Mama deals with the subconscious, which is where our true powers come from. So that's the interest into the soul realm, or our Akashic records, or our ancient memory. And when she speaks to you from within through how you feel, the earth element, which is the daughter component, represents our healing, our security, and our values. So when you're secure in the value of what you're feeling, coming from your ancient memory, that is how you'll send that vibration out externally, and it will reflect itself as air and fire or spiritual power. So magnitude of your security of what mama has revealed to you through what you feel from your ancient memory. Remember, spirit moves inside out, not out.
Yes.
We're transmitters as well as receivers.
Receivers, yes.
But it starts from within.
Yes.
So what you send out is what you spiral back. And if you're sending it out at 20%, you're going to spiral back at 20%. If you're sending it out at 80%, you're going to spiral it back at 80%. So when you're secure internally in the value of what you're feeling, as mama speaks to you internally through your feelings, the water element, from your ancient memory, then that is how, to the magnitude of that security, is to the magnitude will you reflect that externally as air and fire or spiritual power, you see. And that's where we're at. It's now time to go internal. Remember, she's mama magic. First two words of magic is ma. So bringing the magic to the table. That is what the energy of mama means. I will take care of needs. Go ahead, because I'll go on.
No, definitely. I think one question a lot of people have, I had this in the past. I'm much better at this. Like, I'm extremely good at this. I'm very good judge of character and discerning spirit from ego. But how do you, and I apologize, family, for my son upstairs, but how do you tell whether your spirit, your spirit, your intuition is talking to you, or your ego is talking to you? Because some people may have a feeling about something, but that feeling may be not a good feeling. So how do you know it's your intuition or whether it's your ego that's telling you? Because we're all, the goal is to operate from the inside out. So how do you distinguish that feeling from the ego to the, to the higher self?
Very good question. This is what you have to do. You have to trust what you feel. You have to move out on what you feel. I always tell people, if it comes to you once, it may be you. If it comes back a second time, pay attention. And if it comes back the third time, it's definitely your spirit trying
Once
to
again, 3 times the charm. Once again.
Say that again. That's the point. Say it. So if the first time, what?
It's you. It may be you.
Yes, it may be you.
The second time, pay attention. And if it comes the third time, that's a validation that it is your spirit bringing you that inspiration. And then you move out on what you feel. This is what I tell people. Just move out on what you feel until you run up on a brick wall. That's your spirit way of saying, make a turn here. Then you continue to move till you run up on that next brick wall. Your spirit saying, make another turn. We keep trying to beat down the brick wall. You see. It's not for us to beat down the brick wall, because when we're following the spirit, it's going to open up as if by magic. You're going to
there you go. Yeah.
The spirit is involved.
Yeah.
It opens up the magic. This is going to go beyond. Like I said, this is why we have to put a pin in Father's hands, because he deals with logic and reason. He deals with knowing. He deals with understanding. But when we get into Mama's domain, it goes beyond what you know. It goes beyond your understanding and you figuring it out. Okay? So that's where you have to take a leap of faith when it comes to embracing Mama, because you have to embrace her in her magic. So it goes beyond you figuring out whenever you reach the maximum of what you know to do, that means you completed Father's hands. Now you have to go into Mama's hands. You have to cross that fence. You can't straddle the fence. You can't go to Mama's magic and stop on the way and check with Father about what he knows. You see, you have to embrace her in a leap of faith, because it goes beyond your contemplation. You see, and whenever I get to the maximum of what I know, that's when I go crying and sniveling to Mom. Mom, I've done everything I know. I don't know what else to do. Now you're ripe and ready for Mama's magic. Because she doesn't want you to think that you figured it out for yourself. You have to know that you could not have taken this any further without her magic, you see. That is how she proves her magic. And usually when I go sniveling to Big Mama, I'll hear an inner voice. And it'll say, it's very subtle, it's internal. And she'll say something like, watch this, child. Or she'll say, let Mama show you how it's done. She'll say, watch this. And when I hear that inner voice, here comes the solution to my problems. And the thing about it is, it's something I could have
never imagined.
Yes,
I know that.
Never. No.
Yeah.
That's when you know.
That's when you
know. What you can figure out. This is what caring for Mama means. Take care of your needs beyond your capability.
I'm sorry, Mother. I didn't know you was going to come on the show like this. Now, this is fine. Family, I was not ready. I told you had a good show last time. I thought you was going to start out slow. You started out shooting. You was busting at him. Myrah,
that's a sign of energy.
Yo, Myrah came in shooting, y'all. Fully loaded. She came in fully loaded. She didn't waste no time, family. Oh, we need a breather. We gotta take a breather.
Yes.
Family, like the video. Woo, man, we're gonna continue. But you came out shooting, Myrah. Wow, I thought you were gonna start off slow, but I mean, wow.
I was those triple 22s. Are you kidding?
Man, I mean, straight from the hip. They said straight from the head, straight from the head. Straight from the head.
Powerful energy, I'm telling you. I've been seeing this 22. You see, spiritual masters. Watch it. You're going to start opening up to your gifts, you see. Telepathy, you see. That's already starting to occur with me. My phone rings. I know who's calling even before I look at it.
I've been recognized as a girl.
That is how I let me tell you about a dream I had. That's about this time. And the dream was over 20 years ago when I lived in Atlanta. And in the dream, my brother came to me. He had this great big dog. It was like a Saint Bernard dog. And he asked me to watch his dog while he ran some errands. So I said, okay. So I took the dog in, and the dog was so big, he went into my kitchen and he started rummaging through my kitchen, turning over the trash cans, making a mess. And at one point, he jumped up on my kitchen table. And at that point, I said, okay, you've gone too far. Get off my table. And the dog started speaking to me. And the dog said, okay, he said, would you please just give me something to eat? So I fed the dog and I went to the window and I started looking out the window. And I noticed when I looked out the window, there was no blue in the sky. It was crystal clear, you see. And so I went outside and there were, and walked through the neighborhood. And as I walked through the neighborhood, people started coming up to me and saying, look what I can do. Look, I can do this. They were showing me their gifts and their powers that were opening up to them. So when I woke up and analyzed the dream, Spirit explained it to me. It said the sky was crystal clear because there was no blue in the sky. Blue is the color of deception.
What? Hold up. What?
Yeah, the ocean looks blue. It's not really blue.
It's not blue.
So that means deception had been removed from the earth. And that is why people were opening up to their gifts and their powers. That is why I could talk to the dog or the animal, you see. And this is what they gave me as a preview to what is opening up for us right now. We're ready to open up to our spiritual gifts and our spiritual powers. Open up to the magic of the universe. And that was because deception is being removed from the earth. They have reached their maximum of corruption.
So, Sister Myrah, when you say deception, a lot of times, as what we call Black people, the term we currently use, when you say deception, we think of white supremacy, but the ocean, us thinking the ocean being blue, that's further than what we call white supremacy. So who provided this deception for us in the first place?
We just came out of the Piscean age into the Aquarius age. Pisces is the sign of I believe, okay? And it is where our subconscious, Pisces is the sign of the subconscious. So that means our subconscious has been polluted in false values. So now it's time, see, that's the opposite Virgo, the physical vessel that cleanses and purifies you of false values in order to heal in your wisdom. We've reached Virgo is the last sign in the physical half of the astrological cycle. So it's the Virgin Mama who cleanses and purifies the Leo sun of false values to the illusion, you see. Pisces is the sign of deception, illusions, delusions. So we've been in an illusion in the Piscean age. That is how they have put a bridge between our moving our spirit out from our subconscious or the soul realm. Instead, they put a bridge between us moving our spirit out from the subconscious, where we're putting we're releasing our spirit from our doubts, our fears, and our gifts. Those are three things that undermine our power. That is what they have kept us into in the programming of the illusion. Doubts, fears, and guilt. That is their job, to keep us in doubts, fears, and guilt, so we stay at a low vibration and become vulnerable to their attack, you see. They can't come up there and get us. They have to pull us down to make us vulnerable to attack. So we've been in the land of illusion, you see, in the Piscean age. And now it's time to clean it up. Neptune, which is the planetary ruler of Pisces, is back in its own sign of Pisces. And it takes it about 270 years to make a complete cycle. So that means Big Mama has come home and she's cleaning house.
every time you say Big Mama, I love it. Every time.
Big Mama Universe. She is cleaning up the pollution from our subconscious. That is why we have come out of the Piscean age, which is the sign of I believe, where we have been manipulated subconsciously through doubts, fears, and guilt, value to this illusionary reality. So now it's time to heal from those pollution and move out of the Piscean age into the Aquarius age. Aquarius is the sign of I know. Pisces is the sign of I believe. So whoever had...
The ancient Egyptians understood that they could use sound to reduce their weight.
Has control over what you believe, has control over what you
know.
Yes.
Great. Okay. Yes.
So now that is why we had to move out of the Piscean age into the Aquarian age, which is the energy of I know.
My mother was an Aquarius.
So Aquarius has the highest outreach, being the last air sign to the highest knowing or spiritual knowledge, you see. And like I said, when you put Aquarius in balance with its opposite Leo, Aquarius being the sign of evolution and Leo being the creative ruler, it's time to evolve a new creative rulership in the Aquarian age. That is how we're coming out of the Piscean age, the age of the illusion, into the age of I know, where you know you are a creative ruler. In order to activate your power, you have to know your power. This was demonstrated in the movie The Matrix. I only authenticate the first two, okay? And in the movie The Matrix, you remember they took Neo through the oracle because he doubted his power. That's because he was trying to identify his power through his ego, you see, which is external. That's fire. Leo is the sign of the ego, which is external. That's why we have to go internal. You know, our power is internal, it's not outside of us. Looking outside through our ego, where we can be manipulated by the ego and be used as a tool against the royal purpose. So, in the movie The Matrix, when they took Neo to the oracle and she said, "No, you're not the one. I don't know what you're waiting on, your next life or whatever." And then she points to the sign above the door that says, "Know thyself." If you don't know you're the one, then you're not.
You're not the one.
Until you know. And that is the Aquarius and Leo axis of energy. That is what was activated in the Aquarian age, was us to step up in our knowing as who we are as the creative rulers of the universe, you see. It's time for a new creative rulership. And that is what the Aquarian age opened up, the evolution of new creative rulership out of the, and the ultimate sin in the spiritual realm, the ultimate sin is the abuse of power. There's only one sin in the spiritual reality, opposite the physical, where there's a multitude of sins. In the spiritual domain, there's only one sin, and that's the abuse of power.
I got a question I want to ask you. Before I do, I want to put your Cash App on the screen. Yo, Sister Myrah, they said somebody earlier said you booked it to win next year. Like
I'm all the way up until July. I think I have a few slots left in June, and then you have to go into July. But I figure after tonight, it will probably take the year, you see.
And how can they contact you?
I made a mistake the last time by, telling you to text me. Please, no more text.
It was overwhelming? I can imagine.
Night long. And they're still doing it because people are still watching.
Watching the video,
They're still responding, so it's been a barrage, you see, and that was my mistake. So now I have to tell them the only way to have an appointment or make an appointment with me, you have to go to my website.
What's the website?
The only way now. You see,
What's the
and
website?
that's Sistar Myrah. That's it. It's www.sistermyrah.com. You see, SISTARMYRAH. So just go to Sistar Myrah, and they'll have a section where it says consultations, and you hit that, and then it'll take you to the procedures of how to schedule an appointment. But like you said, it's all the way out to July, and I imagine it's going to, those months went quickly. So if you really want a reading, don't let that intimidate you. Sign up as soon as possible, because if you wait, it might all be into December or January by the time you make that appointment.
Listen, I'm sorry to cut you off. I always give props. Because I'm anxious to give you props. I always give props, family. Y'all know me. Y'all know I've been in this game a long time in terms of consciousness and reaching out to these speakers and individuals. Sister Myrah changed my life with the reading I got from her. It was actually on 5505. I finally figured out what it was.
Wow.
It was on May 5th, 2005, when Sister Myrah told me a Sag was going to completely take over my life. The 19th, I met my girl on the anniversary of Malcolm X Day, May 19th. That's when I met my girl. I had no idea I was going to be with her for the next 15, 16 years. But Sister Myrah told me so many things. This sister knows this. When it comes to astrology, like we got our experts in certain areas. When it comes to astrology, like King Thomas, the man with numerology. When it comes to astrology, Sister Myrah got that down, y'all. She got that down. So if you want that astrology reading, you go to her website. This is the got it down pat. We got over 3,000 people over here. I want to thank all of y'all. Yeah. I want to thank all of y'all for being in the room. Make sure, listen, all 3,000 of y'all, well, it's like 3,100 now. Hit the like button. That's very important. Hit the like button. Let everybody know we are live, and the sister, the queen, the goddess is going in on 2/22/22. Unlike nobody else on you, like the goddess is going in. This is our living oracle. This is when you see the movies and you live real life. We're experiencing it in real life. I said this before. It's a pleasure. I'm gonna get to a question. I got my cash app on the screen, family. Make sure you support the channel. It's very important that you support the channel. Very important. Sister Myrah, I also want to put your cash app before I ask you some questions. Then I want to take some questions from y'all, because we're not going to be on here too long tonight. After the show, I want y'all to tap in. How do you tap in? Whether it's in your bed, you go to sleep, put your baby in bed, you sleep with your husband, sleep with your wife, you going outside, going to walk in the park. Everybody tap in tonight in your own individual way. Don't let it stop after the show. Tap in, let it resonate with your soul. Your soul will speak to you. Then you tap in, how you got to tap in, family. So, Sister Myrah, tell me your cash app so I can put this on the screen.
It's Myrah Moss, no H, MYRAMOSS, and the number's 813. So Myrah Moss, 813. Of course, the dollar sign in front, you see. So, but I want to tell you about those 555s, Brother Rich. The 5, May 5th, 2005. And so number 1, we're dealing with Taurus energy. Taurus is the sign of values. So opening up the energy that would be of value to you, and the number 5 is the number for change, you see, making changes. And the 5th sign of the zodiac is Leo, the creator ruler. So those components, you have the 333. So you open up the magic with the 555. You open up the magic with the 3 5s. Then it meant that your life was going to change, power changing hands. The 5 fingers, the hand, power changing hands. And then Leo stepping up to your creative powers, as a result of that, you see. The number Taurus also comes into play with this 22, you see, because Taurus is the 2nd sign of the zodiac. That's how you look at numerology. You look at what number is the sign for that number. So the 1st sign, Aries, the 2nd sign is Taurus. And since we're dealing with the 2s, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, then we're dealing with the value. of stepping up, to our spiritual mastery. Also, we're dealing with the two, we're dealing with balance. That's everything. Two halves make a whole. So it's time for us to step up holistically. It's not real until it's whole. You understand? Anytime you're dealing with a part of the whole, that's the illusion. That's what we've been in. The illusion. Only half. The air and fire. That's the only thing other people can access is the air and fire. They are like the specialists when it comes to air and fire, which is spiritual and power. But if you can't balance it, it becomes abusive. That's sin spiritually. That is why we're bringing righteous Father Spirit and Mama Universe to the table because of this abuse of power. They have now reached, which is the ultimate sin. Because when our predecessors abused their power, they screwed up the world. If we abuse our power, it's going to be detrimental to the universe.
To the universe.
The universe is protecting against. Before we gain our full empowerment, we have to prove that we will not abuse that power and use it righteously. But there's two prerequisites to being qualified as a royal ruler. Number one, you have to be secure from within. You have to be secure from the internal, like I said, so you don't look outside of yourself to your ego in order to identify your power. And the second prerequisite to being qualified as a royal ruler is you have to prove that you won't abuse that power, but you will use it righteously. That is why a sword was cut into those 14 pieces. A sword represents Sagittarius energy, the ultimate fire or the ultimate sun. And Jupiter is the planetary ruler. So the ultimate sun of power was too prone to abuse that power. Whatever Jupiter touched, it brings in abundance. That is why a sword had to be cut into the 14 cycles of time by Set, or the father of righteous thinking. So he had to come through his righteous thinking before he could be endowed with his full empowerment. So that he could not abuse it.
It said Saturn. It said Saturn?
Yes, absolutely. Set Saturn. Yes. Set, Saturn, what is it? Cronus. That was the first son of the great mama, Set. Now he's grown into the father. And now we get, the sun, the literal S-U-N. The S-O-N is the individual melanated man. Okay? But the S-U-N is his collective power. And it's going to climb. See, opposites. That means from one end to the opposite end. So we're the individual vessels that can access many, many levels and layers of that vibration, all the way up to the highest universal energy of that. In other words, there's only 4 members of the royal family of energy. And the fire is the sun, the air is the father, the water is the mama, and the earth is the daughter.
I'm a water
So we have access as the individual vessels to open up our vibration. This is what the 22 is about. Opening up our vibration to the highest universal level and tap into that highest bank of energy. Those 4 components, the fire is the passion to defend righteousness. The cardinal fire is Aries. That makes it the prince of the royal family. And its opposite is Libra, the cardinal air. So Aries is the warrior, Libra is the peacemaker. If you separate them, Aries running around kicking ass all over town and Libra with no backbone. It's not until you put the two together, you have a warrior for justice, taking a stand for peace. That is how all energies work in those pairs, you see. So that means the warrior, Aries, and that's when things are really going to get real, when we get into Aries. We just went into Pisces yesterday, but the next energy is Aries, the cardinal fire. That's spiritual warfare. That's when we're going to see this warfare spiritually enhanced. It's going to
when we go into that?
That's the We go into Aries on March 21st. March 21st, you see, as we leave Pisces. And that's what we are now, Pisces, you see. So it's the next energy. It's the cardinal fire. But the sun, the reason I say the highest vibration of the sun is be a warrior for righteousness. That's Aries and Libra. Libra is the sign of righteousness, and Aries is the warrior. The sun, so having the passion to take a stand and defend righteousness. That is the air and fire. The air element is righteousness or righteous thinking, collective righteous thinking, and the fire is the warrior or the sun who defends what is right or righteousness. The water represents the mama component, and her energy represents unconditional love, especially for her universal, melanated, ancient family. She deals with the family. She deals with the universal family. Her only focus is the melanated, universal, ancient family. So unconditional love for the family. Pisces, the sign we're in now, is the ultimate water mama, the ultimate mama, is where you have to, it's the sign where you have to embrace everyone, the outcast of society, the prisoners, the people in the hospitals. You can leave nobody out. That's what Pisces is, the sign of compassion for the underdog, for those who have been most.
Hemorrhoid stopping your exercising, riding, strutting, or rug cutting? Preparation HSV Rapid Relief Strength Life aims for you.
Most rejected, most isolated. You see, it's the sign of isolation. So embracing those most isolated from society and your compassion. That is her highest vibration. And then the earth element, that's where we deal with our values. That's where we deal with our healing. That's where we deal with our character. But most of all, the earth deals with our security, being secure from within. So those are the highest components of those four elements, or the royal family at the royal level, the highest vibration of the universe. We now, as individual vessels, now have access to tap into those highest pockets of energy in the universe. Wow. That is what 22 is about. Us now vibrating at the level, at the highest royal level of the universe, channeling that energy to ground level. We're on ground zero.
Ground zero.
The vessels.
Ground zero.
Ground zero.
And we can channel the highest energy out there right now.
Yes. 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 If it's family, if it's love, antiquity, ancestry, that's mama. We call them mama. For that agenda. If it's protection, creative powers, that's where you call on the fire element or the sun component. If it's
what about health? What about health?
Health. You're right. I'm glad you said that. Health is also falls under the earth element. Yes. And then you have air, the spirit. That is righteousness, balance, justice. Like I said, righteous thinking, balance thinking, peaceful partnerships, righteous partnerships. That is what the air element represents. And then you have, what did I leave out? What did I leave out? Did I get them all? Fire, earth, air. I didn't really talk about the air, but it's the righteousness, righteous side of the spirit, thinking righteously. You see, peaceful and righteous partnerships. That is what the air. And as it depends on how high we can take our vibrations. You see, you showed an interest in music the last time we spoke. But you know that the musicians are our highest vessels, our highest agents. Because it's all about, everything is about harmonizing energy vibrations. And the musicians are the highest vessels of harmonizing energy vibrations. So as much as they can harmonize that vibration through music, is as high as it will be able to access in the universe. And as high as you can take that vibration in the universe through harmony, is as high as it'll bring back to you in equal measure. So a lot of musicians are self-fulfilling prophets, you see. Yes. The music they put out there is what's going to come back to them, you see. So it's like they are sending out the vibration to self-fulfill, the prophecy that they're energizing as the vessel to send that vibration up to the highest level. You can't send it up there in discord. During Discord, it's only going to have a limited access to how high it can go. The more you can harmonize that energy vibration, the higher you can reach in the universe. And the higher you can reach in the universe, remember, an opposite reflection. As low as you go, as high as you can bring back an opposite return. Spirit is higher. What goes around comes around.
Comes around, yes.
Circle is how they talk about the Ouroboros, the tail, the snake swallowing its tail. What goes around comes around. So as low as you go on one end, as high as you can bring back an opposite return. That's why when we talk about the rejected stone, it becomes a cornerstone. That's daughter Earth. When we're talking about the individual aspect of the sun is the melanated man. Well, the individual aspect of the earth is the melanated woman. And that's why she's been rejected in her value, because she is the energy of character. And character is not respected in the land of illusion. That's who I left out. Character, the earth. The highest energy of the earth is character. So she is daughter character or daughter earth. And so that is why she had been rejected in her value, because character is not respected in the land of illusion. That is how she became the rejected stone, who becomes the cornerstone. It's in her rejection and redemption, the earth is transformed.
I want to get to a couple of questions before we get out of here, because we got so many people in the room. I actually had a question I want to ask right now. I want to get to this question first. I really appreciate this person for donating. So I just want to get this question before, because the chat be moving so much, I will forget. Lotus Flower Queen, I will forget your question. I don't want to. I appreciate the donation. Lotus Flower Queen wants to know, what if we are feeling like we may be left behind by not doing enough? Great question. Please, sis.
Okay, what do we do if we're what? We feel like we've been left behind?
What if we are feeling like we may be left behind by not doing enough? A lot of people feel like that. They're not doing enough right now in this paradigm shift, so they may be left behind. What the hell are we supposed to do? Talk to me.
We're just supposed to relax and be at peace.
Yeah,
you've already done your half. Remember, we've been doing this for many, many lifetimes.
Lifetimes, not just this lifetime.
A lifetime to make your final contribution to the table. And your spirit is going to make sure that you're making your contribution. So we need to relax. You have to be at peace.
You have to live in peace,
your blessings.
That's what
because, like I said, you can only take it so far, as far as what you know. And when you reach the maximum of what you know to do, that's when it's time to cross over into mama's domain, and let her work her magic. In other words, the reason you have to be at peace to receive your blessings is because we all get into partnership with our spirit in Libra. Libra is the sign of partnership. Libra is an air sign. So its planetary ruler is Venus, which is Earth. So a partnership between the physical and the spiritual. When we get into partnership with our spirit, that is how we get into our individual Christhood. You see, that's the first cycle you have to complete, is a partnership with your spirit. It has your back. It can look around corners you can't. It has a broader view. Yeah. Your spirit is going to be the one to pull your coattail as to what you need to do. Okay. But Libra is the sign of peace. So once you've reached the maximum of what you know to do, and you've passed that baton to your spiritual partner, you see, like you, Brother Rich, you're Virgo, that means your spiritual partner is Pisces. So when you've done all you can through your Virgo half, then your spiritual half is Pisces will gather the energy to match what you've fulfilled on the physical half. It'll match that energy on the spiritual half, and that's when it's ready to complete and fulfill your purpose. So once you pass that baton to your spirit, Libra being the sign of peace, where you make your partnership with your spirit, you have to sit back at peace and secure that you've given all the ammunition to your spiritual partner to match your investment. It will match it with the energy from the universe in order to complete and fulfill your purpose. So you have to be in balance with your spirit in order to become whole. And only when you're whole can you activate this energy. But it's time for you to sit back, secure, and at peace, and let your spirit do its half in order to complete and fulfill the operation.
Before I get into the next question, I was reading a book one time. It was like a question and answer book.
Yes.
Where somebody was like, it was like conversations with God type book. And the person asked, hey, why do things usually happen in the 12th hour? Meaning things happen right when I give up. You know, a lot of times people say, man, fuck this shit. They give up. Boom, when it happens.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So the person said, that's when you finally relax.
You surrender to the
Yes.
divine.
You finally shut the fuck up and relax.
Yes.
The spirit was able to move through you. And it's no problem because you finally gave up. You finally, your ego finally said, I submit.
Yes.
So yeah, that, what you said says,
and that just, and like I said, Mama is waiting for you to figure out there's nothing more I know to do before she can step into the picture. You don't bring energy. So you have to reach the maximum of your knowing.
You can't do more.
And when you've done everything you know to do, now you put it in the hands of Big Mama to work her magic.
man, this is such a good show.
You've done all you need to do. The only thing there's left to do for us, we are the vessels for spirit. Spirit needs the vessel just as much as the vessel needs the spirit. So we are the vessel for the spirit. And so you have done your half. You have to be secure. You have to sit back. If there's anything more that needs to be done, it's only solidifying that partnership with your spirit. That's all you need to worry about right now, is being in partnership with your own spirit, because we're all on a unique journey.
Yes.
And only the spirit can give you personal guidance, you see. No more is it time to, I know I'm going to get a lot of flack from this, but it's no more time to research.
Uh-oh.
No, now as we go internal, we already know everything we need to know. Now it's time to utilize what we know.
Utilize what you know.
Walk in the knowing. It's the difference in knowing and walking in the knowing, you see. So now it's time to walk in that knowing. Here's an analogy for that. I said, suppose your spirit comes to you and tells you today, when you walk out that door, somebody's going to come and punch you in your face. But don't worry, they're not going to be able to touch a hair on your head. They're not going to be able to get a fraction of an inch within your face. So indeed you walk out, and indeed somebody comes and starts to punch you in your face. What are you going to do at that moment? Most of us are going to duck, we're going to run, or we're going to fight back. But it's not until you stand there can you prove that the power of the spirit is more real than the physical illusion that's hitting you in the face. It's not until you stand there can you prove they're not going to be able to touch a hair on your head or get a fraction of an inch within your face. That is when you're truly walking in the knowing versus knowing.
No. Yes.
Yes. That's when you have to walk in, and it's time for us to walk in the knowing. Like I said, that's why I run around telling people on hammer time. You can't touch this shit.
Hammer time, I can't say
Because I know the source of my power. And because I know it, I energize it. Like I tell people, I walk on an airplane, I look around at the people, and I talk to them telepathically. And I tell them how fortunate they are to be on an airplane with me, a royal being. Because I'm on the plane, it will be protected. And they'll be protected in lieu of that. That's the confidence and the security we have to walk in as we're stepping up as the new rulers for the new Aquarius age. We can't be a tentative ruler. We can't send our power out over our shoulders and wonder if it's going to happen. You have to know it. If you do a ritual, at the end of that ritual, before you step from your circle, you have to say to the spirits, it is done.
It is done.
You say, it is done. And that is how you complete your process or your part. And then the spirit will move out and that knowing. But if you're tentative, if you think the spirits rule you, we rule the spirits, not the other way around. But you got to know that. If you don't know that, they'll run real high over you.
We rule the spirits. Hold up. We rule the spirits. Spirits don't rule. See, a lot of people are subservient to the spirits. They don't want some, oh, I'm on my knees. Please, please, please. None of that? Please, please, none of that.
We're in partnership with our spirit. That's equal partnership. Spirit needs the vessel just as much as the vessel needs the spirit. And the key to the universe is balance. Two halves make a whole. So it has to be equal balance. The only way to have a healthy relationship with anyone, the spirit or anyone, is to only give to the level they can give back. No more, no less. That's how you keep a healthy relationship. If they can only give a little, you give a little in return. If they give a lot, you give a lot in return. Because if you give more or somebody gives less, then it's imbalance. And when there's imbalance, you have abuse on one end and neglect on the opposite end. So the only way to stay balanced is like they become parasitical on your energy. They start becoming parasites. Some people on your energy. It's like trying to blow up a balloon with a hole in it, you see. When you're giving more than you're getting back. You have to be able to receive at the level you give in order to have harmony and a balanced relationship, you see. And that's any relationship. If all they can give is a little bit, then you just give a little bit in return, and that will keep the relationship healthy. It's all about balance. That's the key to everything in the universe. It's always an opposite reflection. One visible, one hidden. Conscious, subconscious. As above, so below. As within, so without. So everything is about the equal balance of opposites. The more quality, the balance, the more balance, the opposites, the more quality the creative process. And if you imbalance, like I said, there's you only
Advil Dual Action.
only going to create at the level you connect in an imbalanced relationship. So that means the highest vibration of the superior becomes non and void, and you degrade the creative process. The quality of the process is when you come together with your match or your equal. Two halves make a whole. That's the formula of creation. Where you can balance opposites equally is where you complete that 360 spiral, 180 degrees on each half, and that is how you open up a vortex for access to the vibration of the universe.
Sister Myrah, I want to ask you this before we get to Q&A from the people. This is something I read. I gotta ask you about this. They say astrologers say that the United States will experience its first Pluto return. I got this from my brother. I was keeping on 44. Shout out to that brother. You all know I have him on the show a lot. I was just doing this Instagram. Astrologers say that the United States will experience its first Pluto return. In this case, the first time the planet, which is associated with transformation and power, will come back to the position it was when the Declaration of Independence was signed and ratified on July 4th, 1776. As a result, they predict radical power shifts.
And
this Pluto return and this radical power shifts happening. Astro, is this what you're talking about? From Big Mama taking over Father, the logical?
Yes. Pluto is the planetary ruler of Scorpio. Scorpio is on the fixed cross. That's Aquarius opposite Leo and Taurus opposite Scorpio. That's who I call the four horses of the apocalypse. They do the heavy work. So as we evolve, Aquarius, as the New Age rulers, Leo, there has to be a transformation, Scorpio, of our values, Taurus. So that's part of the fixed cross. That's the main energy influencing us. It's an infinite process of transformation, regeneration, and evolution of spiritual rulership. So that's why whenever we reach the Aquarian age, it needs to balance on enough levels to evolve to a new level in the universe. But before we can evolve as the New Age rulers, there has to be a transformation, Scorpio, which is the death of the old or a rebirth of the new, a higher level. The old has to go in order for the new to blossom. And the planetary ruler, Pluto, of Scorpio. Scorpio represents transformation, and Pluto represents regeneration. That's part of the creative process. In order to regenerate, in other words, when you reach the highest or the maximum of where you can go spiritually, when you reach the maximum with full 180 degrees and you can go no further, then that is when you have to regenerate the energy. That means you have to fall even lower than you were high, so that you can regenerate the energy. As low as you go, as high as you can bring back in opposite return. So when you reach the maximum of how low you've been in order to open up the highest vibration in return, and you've reached that maximum and you want to go even further, that means you have to fall even lower than you were high, so you can regenerate it so it comes back full circle to the highest to match the lowest level you went to. So yes, that's part of the creative process. Transformation, regeneration, evolution of spiritual rulership. And it's when we get into the Aquarian age that activates, that comes into play. That is why the fixed cross, Aquarius opposite Leo, in order for us to step up, there has to be a regeneration of our values. Yeah, that's true. And then Cancer, when she said July 4th, because Aries, like I said, everything is getting ready to go into a spiritual warfare in Aries. Aries is the spiritual warrior, you know, fighting for what's right. That's the next cardinal sign. Everything unfolds through the cardinal signs. So that's the next cardinal sign we're going into is Aries. That's when we're going to see spiritual warfare. Standing and taking a stand for what is right. And then the next cardinal sign after Aries is Cancer, the cardinal water. Like I said, July 4th. So that's only fitting that as Aries do its thing as the spiritual warrior, or Haru energy, that's who they pattern their heroes after, our Haru, Mars, Aries, where you come to the full 360 degrees of your personal power. Aries is the most personal sign of the zodiac. So when you have stepped into that Haru, or that warrior for justice, the next cardinal sign will be Cancer, the cardinal water. Now we're dealing with Kali Ma. Do you know who Kali Ma is?
Kali Ma, that's what I've been trying to tell y'all.
They depict her as an Indian deity. She's crouched down. She has a necklace of skulls. She has a blade in her mouth, blood dripping down. This is the ferocious and vicious mama, who's very ferocious about protecting her ancient universal family. So that's where we get into Kali Ma. And guess what? Kali Ma's rulership is over Cancer, Leo, and Virgo. Anytime you put Leo and Virgo together, you have segment. Segment is the most destructive energy of the universe. They can only release her at end times. Her thirst of blood is so ferocious. They have to trick her back into captivity, you know, when she's done her job. So here we got Kali Ma, Cancer, and we got Leo and Virgo as segment. That's the most destructive portion of the astrological
Kali Ma
cycle.
energy in Cancer right there. That's what I've been
If
battling
we'll
with
be
for 4
spiritual
days.
warfare in Aries, then
Ma
Cancer will be the one that demonstrates that destruction.
It's funny you say that. My father was a Cancer. Was an Aries.
Mine was too.
My father was an Aries. And my mother was a Cancer.
Oh,
I got a father Aries. That's where I got this. This is my father's. the Ram. So my
Oh,
father was
yes.
he was an Aries, and then my mother was a
Yeah,
Cancer.
Yeah,
Then they had the Virgo. I'm the Virgo.
Yeah, you're the royal child.
Yeah, you know the Virgo.
Virgo is the Christ child. You know, that was my the Christ child. That was my son who made his transition. He was Virgo, and he made his transition in Taurus in May, but they wouldn't let him ascend until after his birthday, September 20th, into the spiritual domain. That is when you ascend. Virgo being the last sign in the physical half is where we ascend above the horizon line into the spiritual domain through Libra, where we can now get into a balanced partnership with our own spirit. So that is the Christ child ascending from the physical half into the spiritual half of operation. So that's where I look at Virgo. It's the one who cleanses us and purifies us of false values in order to heal in our wisdom so that we can make our ascension into the spiritual domain and now be able to get into a partnership with our own spirit and step into our individual Christhood.
Excellent.
Yes.
Myrah, let's get into some Q&A real quick.
Okay.
Before we do, we're not going to be here too much longer. I want to put your cash app. I've seen a couple of people asking about your cash app. When I get to the Q&A, I got to take a question, cash app down and get to the Q&A. But let me put your Q&A up for those who've been asking. I know $sign Myrah without the H Moss 883 or 813.
813.
813. All right. So we got the Queen's Cash App on the screen right now. If you want to donate to Sister Myrah, and I'm gonna get to some questions. There's one question I see somebody catch. Oh, first of all, make sure shout out. We got about 3,900 people. We got 3,900 people viewing right now, Myrah. So yeah. You on fire right now. They're paying attention. They're loving the message. I'm loving it. This is such a wonderful show. That's why I said I want people. It doesn't end after this show. After the show, I want y'all to go in and do what y'all do. Yes, your spirit tell you what you gotta do. Whether it's pray, meditate, whatever. Go for a walk, do a job, exercise, whatever. But there's one question somebody. Well, let me ask this.
It was 12:12 last night around this time.
It's going by so fast.
I know.
It's going by.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. This is a question somebody got. All right, so before I get to this question, I'm going to go to the question. So I'm going to take a cash app down for a second. To support Sister Myrah, 3,900 people watching. To support Sister Myrah, if you love and appreciate her message, you'll see my cash app. To support this sister directly, hit her up on Cash App, $sign MYRAMOSS813. Hit that sister up, send her love and support. If you want to show her love and support directly on Cash App, all right? Let's get to some Q&A. It's not going to be too long. We'll take 5 questions. Like I said, I really want y'all to go in after this show because it's not some Jesus type message where y'all just waiting for us. After we give y'all the message, y'all got to go and apply it on your own when nobody's watching. When you have no audience, all right, family? So let's get to this first question from the family. Shout out to everyone, make sure you hit the like button. First question for the family, can you contact an ancestor if that particular ancestor is occupying a new avatar?
Yeah. What I'm telling you is there's many levels of accessing spiritual vibration. So at one level, it may be a different face than at another level. But it's that same line of energy, you see. But it's going to show a different face at different levels. So where they may be accessing their avatar at a certain level, there's still a level beneath or a level above, you see, that you can access depending on what purpose you have. So there's a multitude of levels that we have to balance on in order to become whole and complete. And we got a whole universe of levels to access. So no matter what level the ancestors are at, and remember, that's mama's domain. She's the mama of ancestors. That's Mama Universe. So we have definitely have access to our ancestors from the highest level. So it doesn't matter where that energy is at a different level. If they take it on an avatar at one level, there's still a vibration either beneath that or above that we can access and tap into. It just depends on what your purpose is for calling on your ancestors. Like I said, you just have to call on your ancestors. You don't even have to name them. You don't even have to. Your spiritual ancestors are the ones that you're conscious of that made their transition in this lifetime. They're on the front line of the universe, channeling the energy to you for a personal purpose. But now, not only do you have access to your spiritual ancestors, you also have access to your ancient ancestors. So you don't even have to distinguish who you're calling on. All you have to do is decide what creative purpose you want to open up. And you just say to my ancestors, whoever has mastered on this creative technique, channel that energy to me as your vessel and let me manifest it and materialize it on the physical level. There's 3 levels: the soul level, the spirit level, and the physical level. We're the physical vessels that can access and channel from the spiritual and the soul realm. So just speak to your ancestors and whoever want to come forward, who has the energy to channel that to you, that will decide who steps forward. So you don't have to be concerned about what they're doing or where they're at, what form they've taken, or all you do is say, hey, ancestors, I need that creative power, channel that to me so I can manifest it, and let your ancestors decide which one is going to step forward, who's best equipped to step forward and channel that energy to you. Yes.
This Aaliyah Bay says, Brother Rich, please ask Sistar about babies being born in the age of Aquarius. Are they a special seed?
Oh, yes, of course. Matter of fact, it's all, we've had children coming in, even when we're in the Piscean age. We've had children coming in that are special. I know you guys heard about, the indigo. I don't know all the different ages for the different types of the babies coming in from the universe, but most definitely we're getting old souls in here. That's how our ancient ancestors used to operate. They used to, when they did their ceremonies, somebody would play the role. They call it the horse, where they would channel one of their spiritual ancestors to take their body, and dance or whatever that spirit wanted to do in that physical body. So that is how we do it. We channel the spirits of our ancestors. And sometimes when you lose an ancestor, and a baby is born, sometimes they're coming in, through that baby. So we have ancestors stepping in now through the babies that are coming in. They're coming straight in from the universal realm. I remember Bobby Hammett saying, if you could talk to those children, the younger they are, if you could talk to them, they could tell you some magnificent things about the universe because they're just coming in from that level. So it's a matter of being able to understand, what they are ready to impart about where they've come in from. But everybody, all the babies coming in are special. And this is why I'm so happy, because a lot of people that are attracted to my message are young people, and I am so inspired by that. And I am so inspired that I'm reaching, the younger people. They are vibing with this message.
My mama passed away in the year of the Aquarius.
The younger you are, the more you're tapped into the subconscious realm. And that's your interest into the soul realm, or your Akashic records, or your ancient memory. We're energy beings.
Yes.
And you don't destroy energy, it just takes a new form.
Yes.
So, that's like the guy was talking about regeneration, transformation, and regeneration. That's all part of how we regenerate our ancestors, through the babies that come in.
Yeah. Lotus Flower Queen also wants to know, is it possible to have non-black spiritual master guides?
Now, this is what I'm getting, because you were saying about the different people. We got just as many the black devils now as we do white.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Now it's more about your energy vibration, whether you're vibrating in the sake of righteousness versus evil. That's where the line has been going. Are you righteous half, or are you on the half that's doing evil? That's what matters now.
Yes.
The only thing about a non-melanated being is they can hold a position on the high court in the spiritual council. However, they are not a royal energy, just like not a royal blood. You have to have melanin to be a royal energy. So they can hold a high position in the spiritual court, but they're not a royalty.
Yes.
That's melanin.
All right, let's. Aaliyah Bay, I see you asking the same question again. We already.
About the end. This is just a very
We already answered that question about seeds being born in the age of Aquarius. If you didn't hear it, you gotta rewind it, sister. But we already answered that question. I'm gonna get to the next question. Nico Williams wants to know, what effect does the moon have on our vibration?
Oh wow, the moon. See, like I said, many levels. You have an individual level, you have a couple level, you have a family level, you have a community level. It's just all about the different levels that you access in your energy vibration. So, wait a minute, I lost the question. What was it again?
What effect does the moon have on our vibration?
That is the closest planetary body that represents the mama energy.
The biggest moon.
Water always represents mama. So that's the closest planetary body to access that water or mama energy. I have a Gemini moon. My moon is in Gemini. Gemini is where you channel. So that is what I do. I channel what mama feels by it being the moon. I channel the feelings of mama and then communicate it. Gemini is a sign of communication. So when I channel the vibration of the moon, that's mama at a planetary level. That is how I channel through what she feels, and then communicate it to the world. So yeah, the moon is the closest planetary body that represents mama, the water. Also, it's the ruler of Cancer, the sign of Cancer. The moon rules the sign of Cancer.
Hell out of me,
and Cancer is the sign of the ancestors.
Last few days.
So whenever we're dealing with the moon and Cancer energy or the fourth house energy, we're dealing with our ancestral energy.
Ancestors been taking me through.
Okay. Let's get to another question.
Hopefully I get a good night's rest again. I speak that I get a good night's rest from Spirit and the moon and the Cancer.
Why do I have star constellations of moles on my chest? What does that mean? Wow.
Well, you already said it.
Yeah.
You already identified the constellations. Now you just need to study the constellation that you're forming, you see, in order to understand that energy and delve into it. So if you know the constellation that your moles are forming, then that's a message from your spirit to check out that constellation, and there you're going to get some qualities of who you are at that level in your energy. You're going to get a universal perspective of your persona in the universe as you study that constellation that the moles form. So that's your spirit way of giving you some insights as to what level you came in here from the universe. I always say there was 144,000 generational families that fell from the highest to the lowest, and now it's time to come back full circle to the highest again. So, so those of us who have those signs, on your body, those signs that form those constellations, that's for you to be able to keep that energy and understand who you are or your energy makeup, where you came from, and what your attributes are as you begin to understand the qualities of that constellation, you see. So most definitely, that's what it means.
Hey, Sister Myrah, how does it feel? This is from me. I didn't get this question from somebody.
Okay.
How does it feel to get this level of love and respect and admiration
Oh my
in
goodness.
2022? You've been doing it for, I remember, Queen, what was it,
You've been
20?
reading for a while.
Yeah.
2005 or something.
Yeah,
I've
been
reading
the more I
to
keep
2003.
to read and
Well,
help
I think Bobby Hemmett brought you out, right? To the
Yes, he gave me my debut at the Hammett Summit, you see.
what year was that?
Let me see. I first started listening to Bobby in the 90s, like 1996, 95. I moved to Atlanta and I heard him on the radio and he was saying, come to the lecture. And I went and I was hooked. We'd go in there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, wouldn't come out to 2 in the morning. Our heads would be swimming, you see.
Yeah.
So he's the one who gave me my debut at the Hammett Summit. So yeah, he's been my master teacher. He's the one I learned. He's the one. I always say Bobby Hammett turned me out in the metaphysics community. He's the one that turned me out. So it feels. I'm astonished. I'm flabbergasted because I am what I call myself the quintessential Cinderella. I came through much struggle, because of my dark skin complexion. I came in the 50s, and at that time, that wasn't something that was looked on. I was, the darkest in my family, you see. So between my older sister light skin, my younger sister's light skin, that's why I call myself the quintessential Cinderella. So I was denied my value. That is what Capricorn energy is. It's the Cinderella energy, the rejection. Rejection, where you've been rejected.
I didn't know that. Wow.
My first astrologer, listen to this girl, she was a double Virgo. And when I walked in there, she said, "Oh, I've been going through your chart like a fine-tooth comb." I said, "A double Virgo?"
She was alive. She was alive. She was everything. Double Virgo.
She said, "The world is going to see you as a healer." She said, "The way that you were wounded as a child, that's our Chiron and our astrological chart, the way you were wounded as a child is where you're going to be a healer, And I was wounded publicly because of my dark complexion. But what happened is, when I was like 8 years old, I had an epiphany. And I said, you know what? I like my color. If they don't like it, that's their problem. And from this day forward, I'm never going to let anyone make me feel bad about who I am based on their opinion of me. And when I did the lecture circuit on the East Coast, when I was in Atlanta and North Carolina, I did this lecture circuit. And the people would come to me, and the women, the mothers, would bring their dark-skinned daughters to me so they could see a woman secure in her beauty, in her value, so that daughters could identify their dark skin with someone that was beautiful and secure and had their value. Even my niece told me, she said, "Hey, Myrah, I thought I was ugly, until I see how you carry yourself so beautifully in your dark skin, and it made me see the beauty." So that's how I was wounded as a child, and now I'm being rewarded, you see, by healing in that very area I was wounded. So this is totally new to me. This has been a total turnaround. My Pluto is in Leo, which means your Pluto is your lifelong change. So I was sacrificed in my value, and that's how it's turned around, where I've opened up, to the fullness of my value to the world. So that is how my transformation occurred, and open up to. When I used to do the radio in Atlanta, the first thing I used to say was, I work for the universe. I don't work for man. The universe will compensate me so much better than man can. Big Mama stepped up to me one day when I was out of a job, wondering how I was going to survive, and she said, "You work for me now." She said, "I don't pay a lot of money at first, but my friends' benefits are out of this world." Now all coming into combination. Now even the finances are just, so it's been a complete turnaround. I'm totally flabbergasted. I am totally astonished. But I've learned my humbleness. Like my astrologer said, I wasn't using my fire. So I learned how to be humble in the beginning. So it's not certainly not something that's going to go to my head, you see. Something that I'm just going to use as a stepping stone to try to do more, to bring to my family. That's all I care about is the well-being of my melanated universal ancient family and anyone else who wants to step up in righteousness, in this universal agenda. So that's all I want.
I want to get to one more question before we get out of here. Okay. Before I do, I want to share your website where the people could get readings. Because like I said, family, the Queen gave me a reading in 2005, 5/5/2005, May 5th, 2005, and it changed my life forever. So Sister Myrah is extremely sharp when it comes to astrology. And this will open you up to a greater potential, a greater understanding of who you are as an energetic being, not just a limited view you can see with your eyes, which is I think 0.00% or 0.01% or something like that. This system will open you up to a greater understanding of who you are energetically. What's that website, Myrah? I want to put this
It's www.sistarmyrah.com.
How you spell Sistar? SISTAR?
SISTAR and then MYRAH. This one does have the H at the end. So that's my website, Sistar Myrah. That's it. And then, like I said, if you look on the website, you'll see a box that says consultation. But I don't do the astrological anymore, Brother Rich, because I do the card readings, the fortune cards, and that's 3 to 4 hours long. So the reason I had to stop the astrological, because I'm so thorough as a Capricorn. If I was doing astrological, I would probably be doing 6 to 8 hours.
Back in the day, you did both, right? Didn't you do both?
Yes, I did.
I think you did both for me. I lost the cassette tape, unfortunately.
Okay.
But I think you did both. I think you did astrological and tarot for me.
Okay. Yeah, I just suspended the astrological not too long ago when things started really getting heavy. That's when I did your first video, the one Astrological Destiny. That's when things started coming in to a level that I had to push aside the astrological because it just took too much intensity and it just took too much.
You gotta protect your own energy.
Card reading is giving me just as much information. It's tapping into some very high information. People are getting their marching orders from their spirit as to how to step up to the next level. That is what this card reading is doing now. Yeah, I've been doing some phenomenal readings lately because it's connecting to what's happening worldwide and what's happening in the universe. So we're getting a perspective of who you are as the vessel and who you are in your holistic persona or your universal persona, and it's how your spirit is giving you marching orders and how to step in order to step up to your royal purpose, you say. So Harvey is doing just as good as that was in that sense.
I definitely I advise everybody We got 3,800 people in here. Everybody should get a reading, astrological reading from Sister Myrah before you leave this physical avatar. Before we leave this physical avatar, this vessel, this plane, this reality show, you should get a reading from Sister Myrah. You know, don't leave this realm and say, I didn't get a reading from Sister Myrah. I want to get to, we're going to get to one more question. Then we're going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I really appreciate everybody for tuning in. I had a question I want to get to. Okay. I guess this is similar to the, what does birthmarks mean? This might be similar to the mold, but yeah, what does birthmarks mean, Sister Myrah?
Here again, you know, your perspective, Spirit is going to speak to you symbolically, you know, and I got one on my arm, and when I look at it, I see a little bird perched, you know, so it's for me to examine what I see. You know, it's just like looking at clouds, you see, what formulates when you look at it, you know, and you look at it, you know, what picture comes to mind, what does it represent? And then when you get the picture of what that birthmark looks like or represent, then that's what you study. You know, that's how your spirit guides you, you know, to investigate. You know, because animals, there's an animal like the bird, that's totems. And when a totem comes to you, any way it comes to you, there's a message. And when you understand the meaning of the animal, that is how you receive the message. So look at the birthmark, get a perspective of what it looks like to you, and whatever it looks like is what you investigate. Stop second guessing, you guys. Take that first thought, that inner voice, hunches, intuition. Those are the things you got to now start putting more value in. We've come out of father domain, which deals with logic and reason. Until we put in an equal balance with mama, you know, we have to put a pin in fathers. So it's not about logic and reason, it's about symbolism. That is how spirit speaks to you through symbolism. So look at these symbols and what that symbol looks like to you or represents to you, and whatever it looks like symbolically is what you take at face value. You gotta stop second guessing ourselves. We're doing too much of that. We're trying to come out of the mind or the logic and reason, you know, and go, you know, the more, I always tell people, the more bizarre you get the message, the more you know it's coming from your spirit. Because it's trying to adapt you to an opposite reality. Spirit is opposite the physical, so it's going to seem bizarre, it's going to seem crazy. Like I tell people, you can be riding down the street with a question on your mind, and a billboard will pop up and answer it.
Facts. Facts.
I said facts.
You know, take that first, you know, stop studying. Oh, that cloud looks like an anvil, you know, and my spirit told me to watch out for an anvil. Oh, but that's not really an anvil, you know, that's, you know, we're trying to make sense. We're trying to put it in a form of logic and reason, and that's how we miss the messages. Yeah. So stop second guessing yourself, you know, take that first, that insight, you know, that inner voice, your hunches, your intuition, symbolism. That is the spiritual language. So stop trying to logic and reason.
Man, I want to thank you for coming on once again.
Definitely.
Tomorrow, I mean, absolutely amazing show. Packed house. We still got almost 4,000 people in the room watching and listening on 22222. Like I said, family, please don't stop here. Please keep it going. Please keep the energy flowing in your personal life and do something to enrich your life personally. And when you enrich your life personally, you enrich us collectively. So I want to thank you, Sister Myrah, for being on here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I got something with Sister Myrah coming up soon, something special. We got to work it out. We got to talk about it. But I'm going to put something together, y'all. I'm going to put the event together, and it's going to be dope. So stay tuned for that. Hit Sister Myrah up, sistermyrah.com, right?
Yes, sistermyrah.com.
Yes, sistermyrah.com.
Get a reader from her. Do not, I'm telling you, before you leave